Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dropping the Glove. Got a nice one here, Tim. Tim and I, everybody, we're into the news. So when big happens, we have to talk about it. And something big happened last week. Now we have our guest here today, but I just want to say this before I introduce him. I wasn't happy about this because, in my opinion, this guest I could absolutely destroy in a fight. Like I'm talking behind the woodshed, just mangle. And he's giving out advice to one of the tougher kids in the NHL. So let's just introduce him now. George Laraque, thanks for coming on the show again, my friend. How are you?
John, I'm very good. I have a question for you because you just said that. Who was tougher between you and Boogeyman?
Me.
Did you say that seriously?
Yeah, we used to fight. I trained with him for like 4, 5, 6 years.
Okay. If we were to ask your audience to vote right now as who was tougher between you and him, who would your audience say, you think?
Well, we were different fighters. Derek had the one punch killer power. He could murder people with a punch. I had better balance. I had better longevity. So if it was a fight and I missed that first bomb, George, is something funny? Is there something funny? Are you watching Dave Chappelle
Longevity.
or something?
It's the way you said, I have more longevity.
Yeah. I could last longer in a fight. But anyways, so
Actually,
I do think.
hey, listen, I took him in Minnesota for years. You should have been called up when I took him, so I could take care of you too.
I to get into these types of podcasts, but I will. It's fine. I was going through your Rolodex. I noticed you fought Joe Recklich. I was just trying to see guys we fought. Same guys. You barely beat up Joel Recklich, the wrecker, and I dummied Joel Recklich. Absolutely just
Hey,
like
hey,
bombed him.
actually, go look at it on YouTube again. You never touched me. I destroyed Joe
No, no,
Recklich. Go
no.
look it up.
This is George Laraque's idea of destroyed is he just wrestles him to the ice and nobody lands a punch because you're so strong.
I actually did hit him. Okay, go
With the
look at it
ice, you
again.
threw him at the ice.
Go look it up. Go look
You're
at the fight
lucky.
again.
You're lucky I'm not in your young girl's clothing store, whatever you have behind you, because the clothes would be everywhere and it would be just destroying the shop that you're in right now.
Actually, I have a meeting right now, and this is the office.
Oh, okay.
Instead of being in my car, I want it to be a quiet place to do your podcast. So that's why they put me in a quiet area where we're inside the warehouse with Georgine. So that's not my home. That's
So
not
what
my
kind of
closet. Just so
meeting
you
are
know.
you having with women's clothing? Are you going into women's clothing?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Because I
I'm
have
getting
girls.
into I'm getting into men's clothing, and that's the
Okay.
warehouse. So, and you will see eventually. There'll be an announcement made, and you will see it, and I'll get you a pair.
Is it the quadruple XL crowd?
Yes,
Mr. 300 pounds?
yes, it will be. It will be for everyone, inclusive for the small people and the people that are much bigger. Yes, there will be.
Oh, it's good joking with you, George. I haven't seen you in a while. It's always a pleasure. But anyways, are you okay? Is everything going okay with you?
Yeah,
Yeah?
everything is good. I'm healthy. I'm in Montreal. Everything's all good.
All right. Well, let's get down to brass tacks here. Why you're here? It's Matt Rempe. So let's break into this situation because he obviously stormed onto the stage in the NHL. He played what, 20 games, 30 games? Not a lot of ice time, not a lot of NHL experience, but he fought everybody. And they were very popular fights. And now all of a sudden he's putting out a training camp in Edmonton for fighting. I thought that was great. Then I saw you show up. And were you teaching the camp? How did that all come together?
Okay, so when I looked at him this year, I don't know if you remember when he started fighting guys. He fought Delaurier, fought Olivier. Well, for a guy that was 6'8", he was gonna connect it. He was gonna hit way too much. So I started texting him, and then we started to each other about his technique to be more on the side, to use his reach. And I wrote so much stuff. We're going back and forth. And then the next two fights with Reeves and McDermott was way better. He was his grab, his reach on the side. But there's so much you could say to someone by like
Yeah.
this when you're talking to someone. So I said, if in the summer you ever want to give you some advice, we could go on the ice together. And he's like, oh, thank you very much. And, it went like this. So, and then this summer he texts me, he lives in Calgary. It's like, hey, Georgia, when you offered me to give me some advice, well, could we get together? And I said, where do you live in Calgary? I said, listen, I'm coming in Edmonton next week if you want. Book the ice and I'll be there. So we booked the ice for 3 days in a row, an hour and a half every day. And I was training him and Tyrell Bauer. And just so you know, the video that you guys saw, a 10-second video doing uppercut, we did like between 4 to 5 hour training. And when you train someone fighting, you actually have to fight them. So we fought. There's so many things we've done. Fighting is not doing uppercut. Uppercut is when a guy's up close. And how many really uppercut could you do with someone when you get into it? So you can summarize the fact that because we saw a video of uppercut, that's how he's going to fight. There's so many things I taught him. How to take a helmet off, how to get it inside. When you're in trouble, what you do, how you use your reach. So many things that you do. How you avoid someone to grab you. What do you do when somebody ties you down? The jersey grab. There's 5 hours of theory that we actually fought. We did so many things with him and Ty. And, I saw so many comments about it. Stupid. I do this for free. I don't ask for any money. It's a brotherhood thing. The players asked me for help. Jacky asked me for help, last year because in his first few fights, he wasn't using his reach the right way and stuff. I taught him for free. I taught Michael Pezzetta for free. All the guys that asked me, I don't do this to get money. I just try to help them. They asked me for help, and actually I fight with these guys. Actually, it's funny because the first day that I did that with him, I had to go to the physio because my back seized up. I couldn't move because I'm actually fighting them. It's hard and they're pretty strong. So my back was like, what are you doing? So naproxen and stuff like this to loosen up my back because my back was so tight. They were laughing because I'm old, but I'm still strong.
Yeah.
Because, you can't teach someone how to fight in a boxing gym with a back that is not moving.
Mm-hmm.
The guys on the ice you're fighting is actually moving. So you have to move. You have to wear the jersey, so the grab and all the stuff that you do. So we did lots of training and, and just so people know, we did this for 3 days, but you really think Rempe, that's all he did for his training? He works on his skating. He works on his game. He works on everything. And he spent 3 days to work on an aspect to make sure he doesn't get hit anymore. And so many people saw that negative. The kid is young, 22 years old. He wanted to learn. I gave him all my tricks. I taught him so many things. John, next year, wait till you see him. Wait till you see him and Ty Bauer next year. I have never thought someone as much as I have with him. It's a matter of time. The more time that I spend with someone training them, the better they will be. He's going to be, because the thing is, another thing, Rempe doesn't look for fight. Okay. Just so people understand that. He hits people have to go to him. Why did Ryan Reeves fight Rempe last year? Just so people understand. Rempe didn't go up to the game and say, I want to fight Ryan Reeves. He destroyed one of their D. He concussed them, legal check. They were playing with 5D, and he forced Reeves' hand to go ask the kid.
Yeah.
The way he plays, because if you say that he can't skate, that kid could skate. He's actually pretty fast. He's hitting guys. Yes, one time there was an elbow, a mistake. He has to watch it, but still, he's very physical, and he will force the hand of people to go see him. But you know what? People that will go see him this year, like you're fighting me in my prime. Because wait till you see him this year. Wait till you see Rempe this year, man.
No kidding. So you think, I'm just asking the question, you think 3 days will be enough for him? That'll be able to sink in all your teachings, all your advice. That'll be enough for him to take that and use it when he's dropping the gloves game one versus somebody, he'll be able to implement that. Okay.
Yes, I think so. We're staying in touch. I'm analyzing every one of his fights. We're staying in touch. 3 days, remember, the second day where we go on, just because hockey is a game of repetition, right?
Yes,
When you muscle
100%.
get used to do something, and when you train someone for 5 hours fighting, and this thing that became repetition, the third day we're doing it when we're fighting, you assimilated everything pretty fast because it's not really rocket science. And
Yeah.
also, you remember that him and you have an advantage, the reach advantage, 6'8" reach advantage. When I teach a player that is 6 foot, it's not the same thing as when I teach someone that is 6'8".
Hmm.
If I teach a smaller player to fight a guy like you, John, I teach him how to go in the inside because he cannot fight toe to toe. He can't use his reach with you. You're going to clobber him. So he has to go in the inside. And there's a way to go in the inside not to get hit. So it depends who I teach. But someone with that reach, just like you have, it's hard. Fighting a guy like you, John, it's not easy because you have the reach advantage. And if you just train the guy out with your reach, the guy doesn't come in the right way. You knock him
So,
out.
George, you were passionate earlier when we were talking about the people saying like, "Oh, they're upset." I honestly didn't read any of the comments or the responses to him fighting. I know fighting always is polarizing. People hate it or people love it. There's no kind of in between there. Why are you so upset by what people are? Are they saying that he's paying you to come into Edmonton and train him? Are they saying that he's focusing on fighting and he has to work on his
Okay,
other aspects of his game? And
okay. I'll tell you what that is. A lot of people are upset because I was helping him because they thought I should be exclusive to the players from the Canadians.
oh, okay,
And I'm like, they're not paying me. Why would I be exclusive to them? I'm not their personal trainer.
yeah,
They asked me for help. I'm helping them. And I explained to people, I do it for free.
yeah,
So it's not like they're paying me and I owe them something. I've always done this for free. I've never asked anything in return, just so people know it's not a money thing. You know, someone that's asking for help. If somebody was to ask you for help, John, I'm sure you would help them too. And you could. You're qualified to help someone because you actually fought in the NHL.
yeah.
So anyone that fought in the NHL that had success has some technique that you could teach someone. And in my over 200 fights that I had in the NHL, I never got knocked out. I never got a concussion. I had pretty good technique that I barely got hit. And it puts me in a category that I could give some advice to someone so they don't get hit. Because at the end of the day, a fight, just like in the old day, it's not grabbing someone by the jersey and go toe to toe and getting 20
Yeah, it's
punches
different
each.
now.
No,
Yeah,
the goal is not to get hit and to hit the other guy.
yeah.
That's what a fight is. That's what you try to do because there's a life after hockey. And if you get too many punches, as you know, there's no glove in hockey when you fight.
Hmm.
You get too many punches in the head, when you retire, you might have some problems to deal with, right? So
So
that's why to show someone to prevent not to get hit too much in the head, that's important.
when you're, this is something I always think about. Like, I look back at my fights and things I wish I would have done differently, or I see stuff from guys. Is there things you see these days that you wish you would have known back then, or do you think the way kids fight these days is kind of different? Because I watch fights these days, they do the elbow throw, nobody really connects. It's a lot of show, not a lot of go. Is there stuff where you just shake your head, or I don't know? What do you think of the state of fighting?
You're 100% right. That style that you see two guys hanging out to each other and punching the shoulder,
Yeah,
they go like this. They're not even connecting or
nothing.
hitting helmets.
Yeah,
And the crowd, they're looking at this. Listen, anyone that is listening to us right now, put a helmet on in your friend's head, punch on it 50 times if you want.
yeah.
You got to break your hand, and I guarantee your friend's going to keep a smile the entire time. You know, we didn't fight like this back then. We didn't punch on helmet. If somebody had a visor, you took it out, but he took his helmet out. Now they can't.
Yeah, nobody
But
had a visor back in the day. Yeah.
it is completely different, and you're right. That's why it's like the first thing that I tell everyone, especially someone as a visor, take it off. Don't hit someone in a helmet. You're not going to hurt him. You're going to break your hand. But you're right that, John, fighting is not like it used to be because now I look at it, fighting is an art. And yes, some guys are more and more cautious. They don't want to get hurt. And I understand it. It's dangerous. But man, they shouldn't be playing in the league 10 years ago because of 15, 20 years ago, because man, we didn't fight like that. It was like guys knew how to fight. They didn't know how to connect.
Well, one of the things I want to ask you is, to the untrained fan eye like me, I'm watching his fights and I see a lot of bombs being thrown. I see him getting punched. I see him landing punches. But John has been pretty outspoken on our show about like the technical things that he watches and he sees like, oh, he doesn't have his shoulders right, his feeding isn't right, his hands, his grip isn't right. When you were talking to Rempe and preparing to meet with him, how much of that was like so obviously apparent just from watching a couple of videos versus actually having to sit down and think about what you wanted to teach him in those days?
Well, I look at all this fight, right? So, man, there's so much things that, the grip, taking the helmet off, the stance, how to take a stance, how to position yourself, how to throw a punch, where to throw it, what area you want to hit, what you have to avoid, how you protect your head with the shoulders. Man, it's nonstop things that someone, as when you fight with him on the ice, you look at, if he makes a mistake, you stop right away, you fix it, and then you square off again, and then it's all those little things that you look at. And then when he fights with his friend, because Ty was there, and I look at every mistake someone does, and then you go back in and you stop, and they go back again. It's just so dramatic that you don't think about it anymore and becomes just natural. Because, man, it's the I know the everyday people, you're looking at a fight and you think, oh, just grab him and punch. But first of all, fighting is mental. As John would know, there's always anxiety get into a fight when there's anxiety. How do you control the anxiety? If you're too nervous, you get into it, uh, it could be a disadvantage. The other guy, see if you're too nervous also, and there's so many things. How you get into it is so important. Your
Yeah.
confidence is so important. If you get too agitated, if you rush in too fast, there's so many things that comes in effect that when a fight goes in, you don't know what's going to happen. Is the guy's going to jump you? Is he going to wait? Are we going to square up, back up, and then go at one another? Is he going to jump me on the end of a shift? What do I do if he jump me on the end of a shift? What do I do if he jump me in my back? If it's a smaller player, do I have to drop my glove? Because at the end of the shift, because I'm bigger, I should go? Because I look like someone that is afraid? All these things that come into effect that before you even fight, all this is in your head and you're like, okay, so when is this going to happen? Let's get over with right now so I could play the game after and just relax. And all
Yeah.
these things that think about and stuff that, as you would know, John, and you talk to someone, just to talk to someone about these things that you understand it makes them feel good because they're like, oh man, that's so when you talk to someone, John, about fighting, and they're like, oh, I know what you're talking about. Oh, I feel so much better now because that's exactly how I felt. You normalize the fact that the anxiety that they're having, I was having it too. I
Yeah.
was having anxiety too. Doesn't matter the position that I had. I was afraid every time I fought
Well,
because
that was
you
huge
don't
to
know
me
what's going
when
to
we
happen.
when we sat down the first time, I think years and years ago. That was the thing that struck me. Not a lot of guys are open about it. You're like, yeah, I was scared before every fight. And growing up, you were a guy who I like you were the litmus test. You and, Derek were the guys. And I was like, oh, if George Laraque is scared, I can beat him up for sure. And I was right. But it's one of the things that always stuck with me too is you always fight on your own terms. And I think you and Matt kind of have this in common where he doesn't have to fight anymore because he has established himself. And another thing I noticed about your styles is I watched a bunch of your fights. I've studied you. You always went for your good grip first. You never really came in with the haymaker.
Exactly.
And I
You're
think that's something where
100% right.
Matt could learn from you where get that established, maybe eat
Yeah.
a punch, and then once you control the grip and you control the fight, it's pretty much downhill for the other guy from there because
You,
you were a lefty and you had power. And so you would like I don't were you ever scared to go for the grab initially because you weren't the tallest guy. You were fighting tall
no.
guys who could reach
Yeah.
you. Why
But
was there no fear there?
John, you're 100% right. That's always the most important thing in the fight is the
Yeah.
grab.
Hmm.
If I didn't have it, if I knew I wasn't going to have it the way the guy moved when I was going to have his arm, I would not grab it and I would reposition myself. You're
Yeah.
100% right. I thought Bugard was 6'8" when I fought him. And I had to have the perfect grip, free up my left arm so he doesn't grab it. So
Hmm.
when I grab the guy, as soon as he comes and grab me, while he comes, I connect at the same time.
Hmm.
And you're right. I did that every time. And obviously it's the first time that someone ever said that to me. But
Hmm.
You would know because that's what you did for a living. So
Yeah.
you could study me and see what I was doing. But yes, that was one of the trick and one of the things that I teach people because people underestimate how important that grab is. If you jab someone without holding a jersey, yeah, you'll touch them, but there's not the same damage because on skate, you're off balance.
Yeah.
In boxing, you're on your feet, so a jab could hurt. On skate, doesn't hurt. The minute you grab someone's jersey, you have your grab, the power with that jab, it's power. Especially when you lean into, when I grab, you lean into, like you put your weight on that grab to force the guy down.
Yeah.
I put my weight all in there. I rest on him, and he's fighting to be up. And that anytime he comes to the grab, I connect with my left. It worked almost every time.
And then to
That's
take,
one of the techniques that I would show, but you're 100% right that I would do that.
and then with Rempe, even the Olivier fight, he had a terrible grab, and that's why Olivier got inside and just fed him his lunch, and he had
Yeah.
no distance, and he was just
You're
useless his
100%,
reach.
you're,
So
you're 100% right. But after that fight, exactly, and you're right. After I talked to him, if you look at when he fought Reese and McDermott after,
yeah,
he fought with reach. We've talked, the distance and everything. He didn't get connected as much, and he was a different fighter. But now that you see Reeves and McDermott, the improvement for the first two, wait till you see him next year.
well, it
And again,
talks,
but you remember, I just want to say another thing that people listen to me. Rempe is not looking for fights.
yeah.
He will hit guys because he's a physical guy, and guys will go after him. But they're going to regret it when they do.
Oh, listen to you. You should be his promoter before the games. That'd be fantastic. Well, you talk about next year. So last year, I played for the Rangers. I was there when Linsanity was happening. Jeremy Lin. Everybody was talking about the Knicks. It was insane. The same hype came with Matt Rempe this year. He came in, he fought
Yeah.
Matt Martin in the outdoor game. All of a sudden, it was just like everybody was focused on him. All the attention. We're talking like all outlets who don't cover hockey at all. We're focused on this guy. Has he made fighting cool again? Because there's been a good 10 years where fighting really has gone away. Everybody has shunned it. Don't fight. We're trying to get out of the game. We're going the Michigan goal. It's all skill, all skill. Has
Yeah.
Matt Rempe shifted it back to where now teams are starting to realize we need a fighter, and then fans are like, oh, this is really cool to watch fighting?
Of course he has. Look,
Yeah.
the first move the Jersey did, the Devils, they went and got McDermott because in his division, Rempe is there. Rempe, people talk about, how the era of gladiator people coming in for strictly fighting was gone. But the thing with Rempe, what I like is, forget his fighting. He's physical.
Yeah.
He hurts people with the way that he skates and he hit guys. He doesn't care who it is. He doesn't care who's on the other team. He's going to hit your D-man. He's going to be very physical, and he's going to force someone's hand. So I'm not saying that because of Rempe, all the heavyweight is going to come in every team. I'm not saying that. But there's one thing that I'm going to say is that in the NHL right now, if you look in terms of heavyweight, who's left? Other than Rempe, true heavyweight, I'd say Delorier, Olivier.
Yeah, there's not many.
There's not many, 5 or 6, right?
Yeah.
But the teams that don't have one, when Rempe goes level someone, and because of the code, you have to respond and go see him, that team will think twice about maybe we should have an extra layers of physical to actually do the job because he will force the hand of a couple teams to have to respond to him, especially team in the same division. Because when this physical hits, your teammates, they play bigger, they play tougher, and they change the dynamic of the team. If you look at Florida, so I'm going to explain this because we're going to say, well, it's won the cup and they didn't have Rempe. The Panthers, they had greedy wingers.
Yeah.
Greedy wingers that could mix it up. So they didn't need necessarily a guy that would make them play bigger because, Kachuk, Bennett, all these guys, those spicy guys that were there, the Rangers were not built like that. That's why the dimension of Rempe when he was playing, I think the record when he was playing is 26-1-2, something like that. So it doesn't, and if people want to say, well, he didn't play enough. Well, you know what? Having a guy like that would get your team fresher coming into the playoff. All these 82 games, the wear and tear, when nobody is 100% in the playoff, having Rempe there makes it so guys don't take as much liberty. So playoff time comes, whether he plays or not. Thank you, Rempe. I'm playing much pressure because you were there as if you were not.
Yeah, and the Panthers did have Jonah Gadovich, who's a tough cat who fights, heavy caliber guys. He's, 6'3", 6'4". So I agree. Tim, what you got a question? You chomping at the bit there.
Yeah, just one more from me. You mentioned Rempe's obviously working on other stuff all summer long. Do you feel like, fighting skills aside, does he have the skill set to be a full-time NHL player at this point? Do you feel like he still needs to develop or maybe even be in the minors for that part?
Okay, so first of all, he's 23 years old. So he's not even in his prime yet. And he made the New York Rangers, which if you look at that lineup, you have to be pretty good to crack that up.
Yeah.
And he's going to get better or he's going to get faster. But I'm just looking at the way that he's playing physically. A fourth line is a fourth line of energy. You bring energy, you play physical. That's what he's doing. You can't ask more than a fourth line. That's what that is. It changed momentum. It brings physicality to the team. So he deserves to be in the NHL in my eyes, not just because of his popularity, but because of how he plays physically. He wears down the opposite D-man. So then when your top six played against them, when they get hit and the wear and tear, the longer it gets, it makes their job easier. Yeah. So yes, he deserves to be in the NHL because of his physical play. If he couldn't skate, just fight, I would say no. But I just look at his thunderous hits that he does when he's out there. He's a factor and he's a problem when he's out there because the opposition knows when he's on the ice. And you think that the man, when he's dumped the puck, he doesn't know that there's a train coming to hit him? My God. So he deserves to be there 100%.
And I will say, you mentioned earlier about how teams don't have tough guys. This will force other teams to get toughness. Because do you think a team like Washington, when he goes and buries one of their star guys, Tom Wilson's going to want to fight this guy? Or a fourth liner in Toronto or other teams like the Bruins? Who do the Bruins have, Tim, who's going to step up? Do you think Trent Frederick's going to want to fight a Matt Rempe?
No.
This will force other teams to get bigger and stronger, which I think is good because at the end of the day, like fighting is fun. It's enjoyable, and hockey it's an entertainment sport. And I think people show up.
And the thing about what you just said, John, when there's a fight, everybody's on their feet.
Yeah.
Whatever team you cheer for. When there's a goal, only the fans of that team will stand up. Have you ever heard people in the stand booing when there's a fight? It brings energy. Everybody's screaming. People are not booing. So the popularity of fighting is pretty high. And the way, the Rampage building with, you saw so many things they did with him in New York. What does that say about the status of fighting, how popular that is?
Yeah.
If fighting helps sell the game.
In your career, you played for, obviously, Arizona, Montreal, Pittsburgh, Edmonton. Obviously, you started there. Were you ever not one of the top three most popular players wherever you went?
Oh, yeah, I was always, yes. Because, the fighter is like, think about it, the fans, right? Blue-collared workers.
Yeah.
What position looks more like a blue-collar workers on a hockey team?
A fighter.
The guy that makes $10 million a year that doesn't get hit and he gets 4 points that night and he goes out to the bar and he's having fun, or the guy that's having anxiety sitting on the bench all time because he knows he's about to get fired. You can't show anyone that you're afraid. You got to smile when everybody's smiling, but in your mind, you're thinking about the guy. You think about John Scott. Man, I got to fight him. He's so big. You look at him all warm up and you're nervous. Like, oh my God, he's going to kill me. Is he righty, lefty? He's so big. What do? I hope he doesn't play. I hope he's a healthy scratch.
You're scaring me right now.
He's on the line. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God, I hope we get it right away. First shift. Okay, come on. Okay, John, you ready? Oh my God, it's going. All these things that we have to go through.
In your career, who was, because you obviously played, you fought for some of the best skilled players in the league. Did you ever have a skilled guy like Sid the Kid come and say, man, thank you for what you do? Or at Edmonton, did you ever have Ryan Smith or any of those guys say, hey, Georgie, thanks, man. That was awesome.
There's a few instances that I remember. There's one time there was Doug Waite in Bulgarian. When I fought Rob Ray kind of roughed them up the game in Edmonton. And I told the media I was going to go after Rob Ray in that game. And I did in Buffalo. You could see it on YouTube. And Doug Waite thank me. Actually, he gave me a really good deal to buy his Viper.
Oh,
So Doug White is the guy that I remember. Another guy, Sidney Crosby. When I fought Chris Simon, sorry, Donald Brashear, he was roughing up. I don't remember who he was on my team, and he was with the Washington Capitals, and I was in Pittsburgh, and we fought. And it's funny because it's the first time that I got an assist on the goal we scored, and I fought the same shift. So, and then I fought Brashear, and then because there wasn't enough time left in a period, you go in the dressing room. Crosby went in the dressing room to thank me for doing that. So those instances like this, you never forget it.
yeah.
You do a job, as you know, John, you're alone, your hands hurt, you're sore, your body's sore. Like, it's a 45 second of using all the muscle you have in 10. You sit alone when guys having Gatorade on the bench, or the adrenaline just kicked in, and you're not analyzing the damage or if you have any. And then Crosby comes, good job, gives you a pass sitting there, and it's like, man, this is so awesome. Because
It's
we're
so
alone
funny.
in this,
Yeah.
We're alone in this, and it's so hard. It's so hard to explain. Only people that have done this can understand it. I could try to explain to people that are listening right now that could think that it's so easy, but you could die. Each fight,
Yeah.
we could die.
No, I still remember. I know it's such a little thing. Is just after the fight, they come and tap your shin pads. Like I remember Duncan Keith specifically doing that after a fight in LA. I like was so nervous, like you said before the fight. He goes, "Nice one." That was, and it was just this little thing, this little tap
Yeah,
on the shins. I'm like, oh yeah, because you did your job. You validated your existence. Like, okay,
yeah.
now you guys go and score and win the game. I did my job. Fantastic. It's just like, isn't it
And you
just a
know what?
relief?
And John, relief. When it's done and we're just sitting there, we could just,
Oh, it's the best
how
feeling.
good does it feel when it's over?
It's the
Huh?
best feeling. Win, lose, or draw. It's like I didn't get beat up. I
Yeah,
have all my
exactly.
teeth. I'm like, now we can just go and play. It's kind of weird. It's like now we can just play hockey and have some fun.
Yeah, exactly. You're
It's
right.
so weird. But anyways, George, this was great. Is there any way you want to pump up here? Where can the people find you? You're obviously everywhere.
Yeah, but I'll just tell people that my website, joshua.com, you can see all my social media on there if you want to connect, ask me questions and stuff. But please don't ask me to give you fighting course. I don't have time. I don't have time. Since the Rempe thing every week, I have 10, 20 people ask me to give him a course. I can't.
That's
I don't have
interesting
time.
because as you were talking about that, do you know how in football they do like the tight end camp? Now they have like an offensive lineman camp where all the tight ends in NFL get together. It's like tight end one, or all the quarterbacks do it. Is this a thing now that you and Matt have started where you bring in all the fighters and you just teach
Yeah,
them
but
and you have a nice weekend?
I don't want to do it. So
Okay.
you do it. I'm giving you the role, John, of directing the fighting school. Okay?
See this.
I'm giving you the role. I'm giving you the role of it. You should do it.
This is where you're better than me because I'm like, okay, I'm charging $5,000 a guy, and we're gonna. I'm not doing it for free. Not a chance. Not a chance. Like no way. I'm not as nice as you are, Georgie. No way. But all right, I appreciate you coming on such short notice. Everybody, we asked him yesterday or 2 days ago, and he's nice enough to come on the show. He's super busy as always. So thank you, George, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
You want me to tell you the real reason why I came on?
Yeah.
Because I want you to invite me the next time you're on that show. I'm so jealous of you. I watched you on TV the other day. Are you kidding me? I want to be on that show with you. I'm so jealous of you. You're a superstar. You're a Hollywood superstar, man.
I did a TV show 5 years ago at the height of my fame, and now he still isn't living it down. He's just got the SWAT show this week in Montreal.
Yeah,
it's
I
a
know,
little
but
bit behind there.
Yeah, last month I watched SWAT and I see John Scott in there, and I was like, oh my God, and I love that show. I was like, John, I want to be on there. I'm so jealous of him.
Well, anyways, I'll try to hook you up, George. I'll try to hook you up.
John, you're the Cinderella story of the All-Star game. Are you kidding me? Everybody knows who you are now in the world. And then you win the car, like the Cinderella story. You're the Cinderella man. Are you kidding me? You deserve to be on that show.
I can confidently say, if we were to walk around every NHL city, everyone would recognize you before me. I can confidently say that.
The All-Star game helps.
It did. but you are way more famous. I still remember we went to, and now we're just talking, no one cares, but we went to the NHL meetings in the summer, and I walked by you, and it was my first or second year. I think it was in Vegas, and my wife was like, "That's George Laraque." I'm like, "How the hell do you know who George Laraque is, and you don't even watch the games?" And she's like, "Oh, everybody knows him." It's so funny. So yes, you're a busy dude. I appreciate you coming on, my friend. Yes, I enjoy our little conversations. I'm sorry for calling you fat, and I'm sorry for
Hey, no,
questioning
no,
you
no,
training Matt Rempe.
no. You can call me anytime. You can call me whatever you want. I don't take anything personally. I love it.
I know. I'm just busting your chain. We're good buddies, and I appreciate again you coming on. Thanks, you, Georgie. We'll let you go and sell your clothes and do the million other things you're doing, my friend.
It's not my clothes. You think it fit in there?
Well, you can make a couple, grab a couple, and tailor them up. I don't know.
No, the way I make my jeans that I take a king size sheet and I sew it together to
No, you
make a jean.
don't. Do
No,
you?
I'm kidding.
Stop.
I'm exaggerating a bit. Come on.
Okay, I don't know. Your thighs are huge. I don't know. I've seen you skate. You got
King
massive
size
legs.
sheet. King size sheet, man. That would be loose. I'm a sumo guy. Are you kidding me?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. All right, Georgie, let's go. I got to get out of here. Thank you for coming on. I could talk to you forever, but thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to Dropping the Gloves with John Scott, a member of the Nation Network of Podcasts. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from to never miss an episode.